The wait for the 4th season of Stranger Things is nearly over, and the latest trailer for the show has just gotten everyone even more hyped up. As amazing as the trailer looks, there is a lot going on, and it's left some fans with unanswered questions. So in this video, we're going to go over some of the details and Easter eggs you probably missed from the trailer. First up, there's a new antagonist in town. The first thing this trailer revealed was a new villain. Well, it's actually just a new and improved version of the Mind Flayer. In the last season, the Mind Flayer was defeated by the Stranger Things gang, but now it's not here to play around anymore. The new form it's taken looks almost like a human Demogorgon hybrid. He's also taken on a different name for the new look, Venka. Venka is actually a pretty famous villain in Dungeons & Dragons history, so it was probably just named by the boys considering they're big D&D fans. We'll probably find out more about the Mind Flayer's history this season, since the second episode is called Venka's Curse. The Stranger Things gang will probably also find out that Creel House is the Mind Flayer's birthplace, since they were investigating the mystery behind it. One of the house's former dwellers is Victor Creel, who actually murdered his own children right after he moved to the house. It's likely that the Mind Flayer influenced his mind into doing something he didn't want to do. There are also some theories about Venka getting a human host body. If he really has used a human body, it could be Max, since she was running away from Venka in the trailer, or it could be Creel. Even though he is imprisoned in a psychiatric unit, it shouldn't be difficult for the Mind Flayer to free him somehow. Next, the clock. The Duffer Brothers recently came together with IGN to break down the newest trailer for Season 4. They also talk about the really creepy clock in the Creel house. This clock appears multiple times in the trailer, but it's also appeared many times in the series as well. They don't really give that much away, but Ross did say that it plays a very important part in the season. Matt, on the other hand, said something bad would happen if you looked at the clock. At first, everyone thought that this clock might become a time-traveling device or something like that. But one Redditor has a theory that might be the answer to all our questions. They think the clock could be a gateway from the normal world to the Upside Down. They also think that it's what caused the Upside Down to open into the normal world in the first place. Whatever might have happened to the Creel family might have used this clock as a portal between the worlds. Netflix's official description for Season 4 says, "Meanwhile, back in the States, a new horror is beginning to surface, something long buried, something that connects everything." The long buried part is clearly referring to the mystery behind the murder and how the clock could possibly be the key that connects everything together. Up next, Eleven's gonna get her powers back. Eleven ended up losing all her powers during the 3rd season of the show when they were fighting the Mind Flayer. The monster absorbed all her abilities, leaving her powerless. After that, she moves to California with the Byers family for a new beginning. But in the trailer, we saw several scenes of Eleven showing her powers with a shaved head. While these could be flashbacks, there is one scene that hints that all this is the present. At one point in the trailer, Eleven says, "Without you, we can't win this war." Right after she says this, she gets taken away by a truck and is later experimented on too. She got her powers after she was experimented on as a little girl, so it's a possibility that she might have volunteered to undergo the same experiments as last time so she can get her powers back and help win the war. Eleven has always been someone that's determined to save her friends, so it wouldn't be surprising if she undergoes painful experiments just so she can help her friends survive. If she doesn't end up getting her powers back, it's going to be pretty difficult for everyone, especially since her powers have been one of the biggest parts of the whole show. Now we have the guitarist in the Upside Down. During the end of the trailer, there was a random guy shredding the guitar on top of a building in the Upside Down. We've never seen this guy before on the show, so who is he? It's Eddie Munson, being played by Joseph Quinn, who's going to be a major new character in the next season. In case you've forgotten, Eddie's the leader of Hellfire Club, which is the D&D club that Mike and Dustin join at their high school. Netflix has described Eddie as the classic 80s metalhead. They also said that he'll find himself in the middle of this season's mystery. Considering he's in the Upside Down along with the rest of the main cast, he's probably going to be pretty important, but we're only going to find out why he's so important in the next season. Next, Max's season. We haven't really seen that much of Max, even though she's been a major character on the show for a while, but the Duffer Brothers just mentioned that this season is going to be more about Max compared to the others. During the trailer, we literally saw Max floating in the air, so clearly they weren't joking around when they said this will be Max's season. The main thing that stood out in this scene is that the whole crew, Max, Lucas, Dustin, and Steve are all at the graveyard, sitting next to Billy Mayfield's tombstone. At the beginning of the trailer, Max was reading a letter out loud to her dead brother, so maybe this is Billy's way of replying to her. Another possible explanation for her sudden ability to float might have to do something with the Mind Flayer, who can also levitate just like Max did in the trailer. During the last season, Billy sacrificed himself in order to defeat the Mind Flayer. There's a possibility that the Mind Flayer might have possessed Max and is trying to make her do something, since she was seen running away from the Mind Flayer at the end of the trailer. Now, other universes. There's a huge possibility that the next season could introduce other worlds or dimensions. This is because of a certain detail in the trailer that's left everyone shook. We actually see two different versions of Billy's tombstone in the trailer. The first one is the real one, which just says Billy's name on it with all the other information, but later we see another tombstone that says William on it. It's definitely not just someone else's grave, since William also has the same last name as Billy and Max. On top of that, he also has the same date of birth and death as Billy. But why is his name not Billy? Well, many fans think the show might be introducing new universes where everything's just slightly different. This could also be the reason why we saw Max having powers and levitating. She might have powers in that world, or maybe she is the Mind Flayer. At the 2-minute mark of the trailer, we also see something that almost looks like portals or gateways. These could be gateways to anything, but if there really are other dimensions, then it could be a portal to that. Up next, blind Dr. Brenner. Dr. Brenner was killed by the Demogorgon way back in season 1 of the show, right? Well, even though everyone thinks he's dead, we never actually saw him die, so there was never any guarantee that he was actually dead. At the end of the trailer, we see an old blind man that looks just like Dr. Brenner. This was a shock since everyone thought he was dead. There's a pretty big possibility that Brenner wasn't actually killed by the Demogorgon in season 1, but lost his sight instead. Then he could have gone into hiding so that even 11 couldn't find him, but his days of hiding will be over in the next season. Lastly, horror season. The Duffer Brothers also mentioned that this season would be more horror than any of the other ones. They said they liked the horror theme, and that's why they did the haunted house thing. Stranger Things have always leaned towards the creepy side, so the whole horror thing seems pretty natural. They also mentioned how the Stranger Things kids aren't really kids anymore. They're teenagers, so they wanted to try something new and experimental. To add to the whole horror theme, actor Robert Englund will also be in this season as Victor Creel, the man who killed his own children at Creel House. Robert Englund will probably succeed in making this season as scary as possible, considering how amazing he was at playing Freddy Krueger. That's a wrap for today's video. What do you think is going to happen during the 4th season of Stranger Things? Make sure to let us know in the comments down below. As always, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button for more videos like this one. We'll see you next time.